Welcome to July's Taskman Patchnotes video. My name is Taskman Horn and I'll be going through this month's updates. Strap in because this is a big one, with the first part of the release of the Elder God Wars dungeon. Starting the video off with the Taskman community, we've had a few highlights to show off to you this month. Congratulations to Ann Arbor for finally getting their first Mazcab ability codex after 81 rerolls, the biggest codex drive streak so far in the Taskman community. Congratulations to Mini Lucas for spooning the invention pet whilst getting 50 invention at the same time. And talking about being spooned, whilst doing Elite Dungeons, not only being satisfied with the doubled barge codex from the final boss of Elite Dungeon 2, the Blackstone Dragon, Elroy managed to prize away a piece of the Eldritch crossbow from the hands of the Ambassador, being the first Taskman to achieve such a feat. Also, a huge shout out to Taskman James, who received a Medal of Honor for defending Taskman Paws for 5 hours whilst fighting for his Slayer Bounty unique task in the wilderness. And lastly, the first few Virago learner sessions have taken place, with new players learning the roles and the mechanics of the fight. Make sure to keep an eye out for future learner events in the PVM host channel on our Discord to learn from the best the Taskman community has to offer.
Not happening! Not happening! I don't know!
We would also like to congratulate everyone who completed a tier in the past month. A special congratulations to Taskuzar and Taskrate for reaching the hard tier, Nestaton and Taskman Mew for reaching the elite tier, and Kovashel for being the third Taskman to reach the master tier. Don't forget that we have our first annual pub quiz event on Friday the 6th of August at 1900 in-game time. Join using the form link on pub quiz on the Discord. Drinking is not mandatory, but we do recommend it. Don't worry if you can't find a team, because you can indicate if you are looking for a team on the form. With today's update, the Nodon front of the Elder God Wars dungeon has arrived. With it, we introduced temporary placeholders to the new boss to allow players variety. These will be removed over time. For the Elder God Wars content, we've decided to add the following tasks to these tiers. For the Karapak uniques, we've added 1 in the hard tier, 2 in the elite tier, 2 in the master tier, and 2 in the legendary tier. For the Slayer log tasks, we've added 1 in the hard tier, and the other 2 in the elite tier. All uniques are obtained from killing Nodon faction members, requiring 92 Slayer. And finally, the miscellaneous tasks are: find Rowena 5 times has been added to the beginner tier, to find and return Neresa's journal, and Petruccio's feather in the hard tier as separate tasks. To avoid Karapak's lightning strikes and not use the time skips are both new elite tasks, and the same tasks but in hard mode are instead in the legendary tier. And finally, to slay at least 10 Nodon faction members using their own weapons against them has been added to the elite tier. Let's go over the patch notes. An explanation of the soft caps has been added, and we've slightly updated the valid training method of obtaining currency with an example. When we get Legio and Magister Reaper assignments, we will now be allowed to gather keys equal to the amount of the kills required on the Reaper assignment. Furthermore, we are now also allowed to gather enough keys to do 1 hour of consecutive kills. These calculations can be found in their task description. A change has been made to group boss placeholders too. From now on, whenever you reach a new tier, you are allowed to kill any group boss in the tier, as long as you have tasks left for it in the tier. We hope this will promote completion of placeholders. To further Taskman groups, you are now allowed to finish group boss instances, even if 1 or more members of the group have completed their active task for the boss. Some unlocks have been modified and added to allow our Taskmen to do newer and greater things after completing tasks. We've updated an unlock allowing us to maintain 100 charges in the spring cleaner. We are also no longer allowed to create items for disassembly for these components. We are now allowed to chop elder logs to maintain a stock of 200 enchanted notepaper. We are allowed to obtain chronotes when their use benefits our active tasks, after harnessing the Ring of Fortune relic power. We are now allowed to send our research team out if we happen to have the chronotes after recruiting Katarina, Dorian and Eduardo into our research team. You are however not allowed to gather any artifacts or materials. We are now allowed to use skilling methods in Metaphos, whether they give reputation or not, after completing the task of finding Tephamet. We are now allowed to do the elite dungeons when our active task would benefit from it after completing the task to loot the trunk in the Azure room. And finally, for the Masterwork armor set, we are now allowed to gather the materials and create replicas of any pieces of the set we are no longer in possession of. Next up are the tasks. We've added a task in the beginner tier to obtain the Duelist cap and the Wildstalker helmet, together with 2 passive tasks to upgrade both of these to tier 6. We've updated the Catch a Baby Raccoon in hard tier, you will now have to obtain the other 2 colour variations as well. We've also added a task to unlock the Tunebane Ore spell, since it's an achievement in itself. We've updated the Spear of Annihilation task, which the Masterwork version has now been moved to the passive tier. The base version, however, has taken its place as a Master tier task. The infamous Vecna Skull has been added as a legendary task. Lastly, the 3 tasks to obtain a unique Vital Spark ability codex have been moved from the legendary and god tiers to the passive tier. The Rogue Armor set has been deleted from certain tiers and has been added to the passive tier instead. Creating a Dragon Plate Body and unlocking all the variants for the Monkey Gregory have been added as passive tasks. And that's it for this month's update. We want to give a huge shout out to our Patreons and our Nitro Boosters. Many of the changes have been discussed in depth in the Lounge channel on Discord, which is a Red Velvet Patron and Nitro Booster exclusive channel where we present most of our ideas before they are implemented or presented elsewhere. Just as always, you can discuss these changes on the Taskman Discord. Thank you for watching, and as always, happy tasking.